This time on the Gadget Show.
Jason and I compete in a race across the capital and beyond.
This is awesome!
For the ultimate high-tech versus low-tech challenge. No way!
I go back, way back, to a time before smartphones and sat-navs to embark on one very unusual road trip.
It's bananas, isn't it?
While I get used to the newest mobile tech on the market, but will it prove to be a help or a hindrance?
Tick-tock, tickety, flippin' tock.
Also on the show,
My airship awaits.
John flies through the clouds to test the latest digital cameras.
And Otis and Pollyanna look to the sun to power some quite brilliant gadgets.
Fancy a little bit off the top?
And welcome to the Gadget Show.
Yes, and an episode in which we're going to take you back to a more simple time. A time when, if you wanted to meet someone, for example, you'd have to pre-arrange a time and a place and then get this is really weird, actually turn up.
Yeah, we're talking about a time where if you wanted to wise up on something, you had to physically take a trip to the library.
Oh, check this. You would have to carry around a ton of change in your pocket just in case you want to actually make a phone call while you're out.
Yeah. This week's challenge sees me go up against Jason, and you will see the king of technology, the early adopter, the uber geek, have to leave his gadgets and gizmos at home.
We've been asked to meet by this red telephone box to await details of our challenge.
This is it. It's this one.
Quick, before it starts ringing.
Quick, pick it up! Hello?
Jason and Susie!
John Bentley.
Your first mission today is to each find a street which shares your name. But Susie, while you can use as many gadgets as you like, Jason, you must go entirely without. And no tech means no tech. Good luck.
Hey?
Over the last 15 series, I've seen some of the cleverest tech on Earth, from augmented reality
Look at that! Isn't that fantastic?
to innovations in computer technology go mainstream.
And the curve works.
I use stuff like this every day, and now the Gadget Show is going to take it away from me.
This is going to be hard. This is going to be really tough.
And so we both got busy with the task in hand, to find a street with our name on it. These days, when it comes to using tech to get around, we're spoiled for choice. Smartphones are everywhere, which means we have the internet wherever and whenever we want it. Back when the Gadget Show started, this was confined to WAP, or Wireless Application Protocol sites. Now you can use interactive maps with augmented reality or user-generated content via Flickr and Bing. Most modern smartphones have GPS built in, and they'll take you to your doorstep, but there's one tool that most of us just couldn't live without.
Now, I've got the latest Google Nexus S phone, obviously with Google Maps on. So what I'm thinking is, if I just Google Perry, probably rather than Susie, if I put in Perry, London, and see what comes up.
Google Maps covers an astonishing 21 million miles across 103 countries around the globe, so I was pretty sure I'd find some street with my name.
And then if I just zoom in, it gives me the road names quite clearly. Ah, this is taking longer than I thought.
I've had a smartphone for almost half a decade, and without it, I felt completely helpless.
You don't know where Bradbury Street is, do you?
No, I don't.
Jason Street?
I really was at a loss.
Jason Street.
Jason Street, no.
Just as I was starting to worry that I'd be stuck there, I remembered the A to Z. This is about as low-tech as navigation gets. It was written in 1935 by a woman called Mrs. Pearsall, who spent a year walking 18 hours a day in order to cover all 3,000 miles of London's 23,000 streets. Thanks, Mrs. P.
Jason Court! Jason Court!
Great! Let's go!
Using my smartphone, I'd found where I needed to go.
Perry Vale Studios in Lewisham.
But Lewisham is miles away, and in this traffic, you must be joking. Luckily, there was a high-tech solution just around the corner. Boris Bike!
Yes, these are brilliant. You can rock up on the day and just use your credit card, or if you're in London a lot, you can register online like I've done, and you get yourself a little key, and then all you have to do is simply put it in the membership key slot. It registers, and then You just take the bike, and what's more, up to the first half an hour, it's free. Yes! There we go. It's as simple as riding a bike.
When you're done with your bike, you can drop it off at any of the 400 docking stations around London, although the bike itself is a little bit basic.
Boris, if you're watching, can you get some more gears?
I, on the other hand, was struggling. I needed knowledge of my local surroundings and I needed it fast. And then I remembered the knowledge.
Excuse me, are you available for hire? Yes. Do you know Jason Court?
The knowledge is the world's most demanding training course for taxi drivers. They need to learn the city roads inside out before they qualify, and they've been getting us to exactly where we want to be long before GPS appeared on the scene. This guy wasn't just a cab driver, he was the ultimate map.
This could give me an opportunity to win this first stage.
No matter how hard I pedalled, the traffic was holding me up. It was time to ditch the bike and go off-road.
Apps are brilliant for travelling. I'm going to use London Underground 10 to find my way to Perivale.
LU10 is a map and route finder for London's Underground. There are hundreds of apps available these days for travel, from directions to translation to itinerary making, even to what carriage to stand in to get out of London tube stations the quickest.
So I've got to get to Forest Hill, one change, should take about 35 minutes. Excellent.
And I saved valuable minutes as contactless payment came to my aid. Way back in 2007, we competed in a challenge to see just how far we could journey without cash.
Confirmation, payment received.
Contactless payment was in prototype form then, but these days it's appearing everywhere.
Londoners have been using Oyster cards for 8 years now, but you still have to remain aware of your credit and top up regularly. From next year, you'll be able to use your credit card. It'll have this little symbol on it and use it in exactly the same way.
With 14 million in circulation, you may already have a contactless credit card. And they're starting to be used in some shops right now for transactions up to £15.
The flesh and blood navigational computer that was my London cabbie had got me to Jason Court before Susie had even caught her tube train. But the race wasn't over yet. To win, I had to tell Susie I'd got there. And without a smartphone, that suddenly became a massive problem.
Normally, camera phone, job, you know, MMS, tweets, email, I don't know. Absolutely no idea how I prove to Susie that I'm here.
Without a mobile phone, I had no instant line to Susie. In fact, I didn't even know her number.
I don't know anyone's phone number. I don't know my mum's phone number. I don't know my girlfriend's phone number. Absolutely no clue.
I had to use someone's landline, call directory inquiries to get our office number, get Susie's number from them, whilst all the time she was closing in on her final destination.
I had no idea how far Jason had got on our challenge because underground, I had no mobile signal. But as I made my final dash to the overground train, my phone picked up a few bars, just in time for me to receive some bad news.
No way, he's already there. Oh, and I've missed the train. Oh, this is a disaster. I've missed the train. There's no point me going now. Anyway, I've lost the first part.
You had tech, and you failed to win the first leg of the challenge against Mr. Tech, but no tech?
I know. I think that I might have rested on my laurels a little bit because I had to go all the way across London.
Let me just defend Susie weirdly, because I completely agree with you, and yet I feel this urge to just... The thing is, what I'm really pleased about is that you jumped on the Boris bike. It is a bike for the people. You get half an hour for free as long as you've registered, and it's all made possible by the most high-tech.
I know, but
I love it.
It's not fast enough, though, to win
you're
a challenge.
so right.
Boris, please, you need to have more gears and make it lighter. Maybe think about aluminium or something like that.
Yeah.
I am annoyed with myself.
You should be.
Still 2 challenges to go.
Better win them.
Oh, right.
Welcome back. Now I want to talk to you about digital cameras. With the advent of the digital compact camera, all manner of people tapped into their previously undiscovered talent for photography. Freed from the burden of film and processing charges, amateur snappers could experiment away to their heart's content. And perhaps that's why so many have considered upgrading their compact to something more pro. And that's where these fit in. entry-level digital SLRs, offering many of the advantages of a professional camera, such as interchangeable lenses and endlessly variable settings, but without the hefty price tag. So, if your photographic ambitions are sky high, which one of these should you choose? Well, it was time for me to get my head in the clouds for some serious testing. Luckily, I had an airship to hand. Airships have been around for well over a century, floating almost effortlessly at about 1,500 feet, and with a leisurely top speed of 53 miles an hour, this was going to be a perfect way to get some spectacular shots to test my cameras. My airship awaits. We were going to take an aerial tour of London, navigating our way down the River Thames, heading as far as the Houses of Parliament, so I'd have plenty of time to play with each camera. Although it was windy and the blimp was swaying a lot, as we flew over Greenwich and spied the heart of London in the distance, I was getting very excited. It was time to get snapping. I brought along 3 entry-level DSLRs, all with similar specifications. First up, I was going to use a Canon EOS 1100D. It comes with 12.2 megapixel 720p HD video and is compatible with all Canon lenses.
Now, the Canon's got a really nice control layout, but there is a significant disadvantage with it. It doesn't have an active dust reduction system built in. Its predecessor, the 1000D, did. And that means that as time goes on, you could end up getting a lot of dust marks on your picture. You'd have to clean the sensor manually. It's a major disadvantage and a false economy, I think, on Canon's part.
Dust aside, the Canon felt well made, and the viewfinder offered a clear image.
And some rather nice 18th century churches.
In general, I was pleased with the results too, although at times the metering, that is how the camera measures light, was perhaps a little disappointing. The video, however, was impressive. Although only 720p HD, the motion was smooth and made for watchable clips, despite a lack of autofocus. The views of central London were spectacular, but I wasn't here just to sightsee, and it was time for my next camera. A Nikon D3100, which boasts a 14.2 megapixel sensor and 1080p HD video. Like the Canon, the camera felt well made. The controls are accessible and the on-screen display clear when altering settings.
The Nikon actually has a separate guide mode, which you can summon up on the dial. It actually gives you on-screen tutorials. It's like having a photography teacher inside the camera. Rather good.
The metering seemed slightly better than the Canon's, meaning a higher success rate with the pictures. The video wasn't bad either, although I actually preferred the Canon 720p footage to the Nikon's higher definition 1080p. By now, we were over some of the most famous sites in London, and it was time for my final camera. A Sony A390L, which, like the Nikon, has a 14.2 megapixel sensor.
It feels slightly slower in operation than the other two as well. You have to wait a bit for the pictures to come up on the review screen. But there's a very easy switch to switch into live view, and the screen tilts. So if I want to get a different perspective, I can.
The Sony felt less impressive in the hand. The body wasn't quite as well finished as the others. The picture quality itself, though, was pretty good in general. However, there was one major surprise. There was no video capability, which for many might be a severe drawback. Being in the blimp had been a fantastic experience, but all too quickly, it was time to land. At least that meant I'd be able to transfer the pictures to my laptop to examine them in greater detail. Well, considering it was a bit hazy up there and I was shooting through perspex, I'm actually quite pleased with some of these pictures. There is some difference between the cameras emerging, though. Right, I've made my mind up. Time for the G ratings. And it was 2 Gs for the Sony. Decent enough pictures, but a lack of video and its sluggishness when reviewing your pictures on its screen were frustrating. And it's 3 Gs for the Canon. Good picture quality, simple settings, and impressive video quality make this a reasonable buy. But it was 4 Gs for the Nikon. Its inbuilt guide could prove very useful for new users keen to learn more about a DSLR's capabilities, and the picture quality was consistently the best. Certainly a very good entry-level digital SLR. If you want to check out even more pictures from my aerial photography test and make your own mind up about which camera should have come out on top, then head over to channel5.com/Gadget Show, where you'll be able to watch my web-exclusive video slideshow and vote for which was your favourite DSLR camera from my test.
Now, summer is most definitely on its way, and with the sunshine we've had recently, you're probably thinking about stacking up on sunscreen rather than stacking up on tech.
But think again, tech freaks, because the sun is one big battery that can be used to power all manner of solar-powered tech.
So, here are our top 5.
The sun produces an amazing 386 billion megawatts of power. About 96 billion kilowatts reaches Earth, more energy every hour than is used by the whole planet in a year. And we've chosen our top 5 gadgets which harness this awesome power source.
Starting us off at 5 is the Logitech wireless solar keyboard. Now, with most wireless keyboards, you have to faff around playing with batteries and changing them, but not with this one. This one is actually a solar-powered keyboard, and you don't even have to have it in direct sunlight for it to work. How good is that? In fact, once charged, it stays charged for 3 months in total darkness, so it doesn't matter if you live in the frozen north. And at only 1/3 of an inch thick without any battery compartment, it's lovely and light.
At number 4, it's the solar-powered electric shaver. Now this, in theory, is a very good idea. You can leave it to charge on the dashboard of your car when you're on the way to a meeting, say you're a man on the move, or if you don't fancy growing that hippie beard while away camping, just leave it to charge outside. This is Francois, one of the more hirsute members of the Gadget Show team. He's a director, don't you know? We're going to test this out on him. Oh, no. The pleasure is all mine. How does that feel? Does it feel good? It also comes with a little pop-out beard trimmer. There we are, a bit of sideboard trimmage. For specialist hirsute grooming. Marvellous, let's do the other side. The shaver takes between 8 and 12 hours to charge fully and can also be charged from the mains. So, not half bad, and because of the solar panel, it just keeps going on and on and on. Fancy a little bit off the top?
Don't think so.
All right. Jeez.
In at 3 is the Solar Gorilla. This is a portable solar charger, and it's these 2 photovoltaic panels that convert this lovely sunshine into lovely electricity to charge my tech. With a 24-volt or 5-volt output, it'll give you enough juice to power your laptop. And it comes with a connector tip pack for pretty much any gadget you own, from sat-navs to phones. An indicator light tells you when there's enough sunlight to get the maximum charge for your gadget. However, if you follow me, as soon as you come indoors and there's no sunlight, that indicator light completely disappears. No charging.
Our number 2 is something I never thought I'd see. A solar-powered camcorder. Looks like an ordinary camcorder, as you would expect, but when you flip out the screen like that, there's an extra flip function that reveals 2 solar panels, which means in weather like this, you can film and charge at the same time. With all the features of a regular entry-level camcorder, including 720p recording, I really think this is an idea that could catch on for the new wave of holiday tech.
And in the number 1 spot is the Eaton Solraw sound system. This is an iPod dock which you can charge via the mains, or the clever bit, look at this. You can trickle charge it using the solar panel for when the sun comes out. If I turn the sound on, that's fantastic sound. Its solar battery gives you 4 hours of continuous playback while charging your iPod at the same time, and the sound quality is really very good. And it's great for your holidays because it's sand resistant and splash proof. Good job, really.
First there was She-Ra, now there is Solraw. What a great bit of kit. And what you can't really appreciate out there in Teleland is actually the build quality of this. Don't you think it's got a waxy finish to it?
It's really robust, isn't it?
Yeah, well, these buttons are sealed for your sandy holiday. That'll keep a little barbecue going on the beach, won't it?
As for beach holidays, you can't go too far wrong.
I've got another bit of tech that you're going to love. It boasts a similar robust build quality. In fact, it's built like a tank. You might remember this thing that I rode in the park a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Check this out.
Dude, when you said you got something to show me, I mean, what is it?
It's lethal, that's what it is. It's a heavy metal off-road monster. It's called the MXB Shocker.
Take it for a spin.
I think you might do well to stand out my way, all right? God, wish me luck, eh?
Once lined up and running, it's pretty easy to control, thanks to its front and rear oil-damped suspension. Its high-torque electric engine is capable of 25 miles an hour, but crucially, it provides great traction, and that means it's good for going off-road.
There, look at that, right at the curb and right onto the rough terrain. Superb. Oh, just great. From one surface to another, blissfully easily.
Its lithium battery lasts 2 hours on a full charge, but that extends to 2.5 hours thanks to its clever energy-generating braking system.
Its weight and the thick metal build of the thing is actually the feature that enables it to be so stable on all kinds of surfaces.
I loved riding it, but it's heavy, so you need your wits about you, because if this beast fell on you, you'd definitely know about it.
Welcome back, and if you just joined us, perhaps I should fill you in on the stories so far. Susie and I are attempting a quite unusual road trip challenge.
Yeah, now here on the Gadget Show, you're pretty used to seeing us using the latest bleeding edge tech to get from A to B. Well, that is exactly what I had to do.
Great. The problem is, I wasn't doing that. I was using the lowest of the low of low tech, basically an A to Z and a couple of phone boxes to try and find my way around London and ultimately outside into the rest of Britain.
So essentially, it's the technological modern day versus the dear old dark ages. And if you're thinking there's no contest, then think again, because you'll be as baffled as I was to find that he reached his first location before I reached mine.
I know, I was amazed as well. There it was, my destination, Jason Court.
All right, then go on.
Glowing at the beginning of a sort of really weird, manky old street. I was quite disappointed, actually. But the question is, would my non-techie luck hold out?
I'd been robbed of my smartphone, laptop and credit cards, yet somehow I, the gadget man, had managed to win the first part of our tech versus no tech challenge.
No way!
But this challenge was about to get trickier.
Your next task is to find a place...
sharing your second name outside London.
Right.
What I wouldn't have given to get online.
OK.
That shouldn't be too hard. At least I've got an iPad to play with.
The amount of processing power in our laps is phenomenal compared to when the Gadget Show first started. Back then, it was bulky doorsteps. Now it's all about the sleek, sexy tablet. First stop, the internet. Now, searching online is actually a fine art. Most of us are inclined to just Google it, but it can bring up a lot of random information.
Midnight Perry Mason. I don't need that. Perry County. Oh, that's in America.
But if you use speech marks around your subject, it means that you'll only return results featuring those specific words. And my narrowed down search led me to Gazetteer, a comprehensive directory of place names in Great Britain.
So if I put in Perry now,
I'd hit the jackpot.
yeah, you see there's loads of Perrys on here. Which one is going to be the easiest for me to get to?
My previous win may have been down to a little bit of luck, but I was determined to prove that there's more to this man than his gadgets. And with a little bit of ingenuity, I reckoned I could do this. But what did we do before Google? 192. Directory inquiries, of course.
I've got to put £2 in. Minimum, it said £2. Credit is low. 1 minute. Are you still there, darling?
Although directories had suggested a couple of places called Bradbury, they seemed too far away, but I'd spotted a loophole in the challenge and was prepared to exploit it.
See, my theory is, look, your next task is to find a place. Place. It doesn't say town. Have you got, like a, I don't know, Bradbury House? Let's give a Bradbury House. Yes, Bradbury Manor, try that. Devices. Yes, that's good. I like that.
So, directories had come good. I was off to Bradbury Manor in Devizes, Wiltshire. Whatever Bradbury Manor was, it sounded very grand. I just needed to get to a station using my trusty Ask a Taxi Driver method again.
And I'd made a decision too.
I think the best bet for me is to go to Perry Bar in Birmingham.
So, not only would I win this part of the challenge, but I'd get to see my mum for tea and cakes. And so, with croissant in hand, I headed off to find the train station. Little did I know that Jason had already got to one, although he was going nowhere fast. I however, had no intention whatsoever of queuing. That's for losers, Jason.
I'm trying to pre-order my ticket so I don't have to wait in a queue or print anything off. And I'm using a new process called M-ticketing, Chiltern Railways app, and I can book my train, pay for it, and then I get my ticket on my phone. There it is, I've got my barcode, perfect.
I'd finally got to the front of the queue, but I soon realised this wasn't going to be simple.
I need to go to Devizes. Is there a train station there?
There's not a train station in Devizes, no. You could go to Chippenham.
All right, and then how do I get from Chippenham to Devizes?
Well, we can check if there's a local bus from Chippenham. In all honesty, I'm not sure if there is.
You see, you can't even buy a train ticket without tech being involved. Behind the counter, at least. If only I'd had some connectivity myself, though. I was sure I could have checked the routes much quicker.
I've got 3 minutes to get on this train.
A quick scan of the barcode on my phone and I was through the barriers with the train in my sights. I'd never have made it if I had to queue for a ticket.
Despite my queue time, I'd eventually managed to get the train to Chippenham, and without the option of watching a movie or checking my emails, I got to thinking, how was I going to get to the mysterious Bradbury Manor in Devizes from Chippenham? And where on earth was Devizes anyway?
No such problems when you've got technology, and I intended to make full use of it to sort out the last leg of my journey using an app called One Click Cab.
This is good because via GPS it can tell where you are and it will find you all the numbers of local taxi companies, or, in my case, you can manually enter your destination of where you want to go to. So, for Birmingham, there we go. Wow.
I was off the train at least, but still had to cover the last stage of my journey, and now I needed a larger scale map.
Chippenham, Devizes, about 10 miles.
I, however, was still on the train.
Do you know what? You can have all the tech in the world, but you cannot make a train go faster. Come on.
Back in Chippenham and still 10 miles from Bradbury Manor, desperate times called for desperate measures. I wasn't ever going to get there before Susie on 2 feet, so I decided to use 2 wheels. This is the Carrera 2DF 16-speed drop handlebar road bike with road racing tyres and a lightweight aluminium frame. It's pretty straightforward, but perfect for speeding to victory.
This is awesome! You might be wondering why I didn't hire a car. It's quite simple, it involves technology, credit card transactions, all the rest of it. This thing, I just walked in, paid cash, and rode out.
Tick-tock, tickety, flippin' tock.
My train finally arrived. I just had to get to my taxi now, and there it was, waiting right outside.
So, Perry Bar, yeah? Okay, brilliant.
With no idea of where Susie was heading or how she was getting there, I had no choice but to pedal for my life.
Definitely here somewhere.
My taxi journey seemed to be taking forever, but I knew I was getting close to Perry Bar.
I was pedaling hard, just hoping I was still in the race.
More traffic lights.
Hey! Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's me. That's what I'm talking about. Bradbury Manor. I made it. Yeah, I'll be lying if I said I'm not a little bit disappointed.
OK, so it turned out that Bradbury Manor was a care home, not my long-lost ancestral seat. But it didn't matter. I'd arrived. I just hoped they had a phone.
Hi. Can I borrow your phone, Jessica?
You can indeed. Come on through.
It was the moment of truth. Had I beaten her for the second time?
Don't even know that number. Hello?
Hello, is that Perry of the Susie variety?
Yes, it is Perry of the Perry Bar variety.
Are you in Perry Bar?
Literally half a mile away.
Yeah, it's half a mile too far, girlfriend, because I'm sitting in Bradbury Manor.
Bradbury Manor?
Bradbury Manor, girlfriend.
You're there already?
Susie, love to chat, my darling, but I've got to meet my staff.
Bye. Ah! I've lost both of them.
You, I have nothing to say to. 2 rounds of this challenge loaded with tech against Mr. No Tech, and you lost.
Bradbury Manor, I thought you were going to go to a stately home.
I thought I was going to a stately home as well, but I've got to say, actually, they did make me feel like the Lord of the Manor. So a big thank you to everyone at Bradbury Manor.
Oh, no. Welcome back. And if you've just joined us, then you're in time for the grand finale of our rather unusual road trip.
Yeah, so just to recap, earlier on, Susie and I were challenged with finding a street and a place that bear our names.
Yeah, it sounds simple, doesn't it? Especially if, like me, you can get your hands on the latest technology. However...
Yeah, if you've got access to the internet, you'd think it might be straightforward. But I didn't. I was in the dark ages. I had a ye-olde map, pedal bike and payphones. And yet...
Yes, despite that.
I still want it.
I know,
Yes.
I know. And the second part of the road trip turned into a complete disaster as well. However, there is still one part to go where I can prove that gadgets are indeed the answer to all of our problems.
OK, and it's here. Right, Jason and Susie.
So your challenge is to find someone who shares your name and get them into the studio in time for the end of the show. The clock is ticking.
Right, well, let's do it.
Right.
Are you not coming?
No, I've got other ideas.
I'm off. I'm using this opportunity. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one, so I've got to find out someone with my name. My obvious route would be the internet. I mean, I need internet right now. I need connectivity, data, and I've not got it. But I have got a room full of researchers. And those researchers got busy helping me find a Jason Bradbury by ringing good old directory inquiries. I was keeping it old school.
Well, there is no need for me to panic whatsoever because I have the use of technology, and this, my friends, is where I am going to come into my own. I'm going to use social networking, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, to find Susie Perry. There must be one out there, and I'm going to find her.
There are now more social networking accounts than people in the world. 250 million log on to Facebook every day. There must be a few Susie Perrys amongst them.
Right, I'm going to start with my favourite social networking site, Twitter, because it's instant and I'll get feedback straight away. I'm looking for another Susie Perry.
Back in the office, I'd hit a brick wall. Directory inquiries hadn't been able to give me a number for a Jason Bradbury in Birmingham. I needed to find another way.
I've got somebody who'll meet you at Birmingham Library. He's a genealogy expert.
You're kidding me? So he's an expert in family trees? A genealogist? Why not? After all, my family's name was originally from the Midlands. So, with a bit of luck, some distant relatives may still be living around here. Where's your car, dude? Awesome.
I was tweeting hard, trying to find my namesake. But for some reason, none of my followers were taking me seriously.
There's only one Susie Perry. Stop singing that song. Come on, this is a challenge.
I decided to take matters into my own hands and do a bit of searching myself. We've already discovered here on the Gadget Show that there's a frightening amount of public information available about us online via sites like 123People and LinkedIn.
Look at this. Susie Perry, Austin, Texas. OK, that might be a bit tricky to get hold of. What I might do now is try 192.com that uses the electoral roll and try and get something in the UK.
And it worked. I found a Susie Perry in Birmingham and decided to give her a call and see if she'd help me with the challenge.
Nah, nobody's in, no one's picking up.
But I did have Susie Perry's home address, so I was going to be cheeky and drive to her house. But first, I needed a car.
I'm going to use whipcar.com, which basically is a website that enables you to hire a car by the hour for half a day, but not from a hire company, but from people like you and me that register to the website.
I simply put our studio postcode in to see if there was a car nearby, and bingo, there was one half a mile away. One credit card payment later, and I was on my way to meet Susie Perry.
I'd managed to get to Birmingham Central Library in record time, where I was fortunate to have experienced genealogist Nick Barrett ready and waiting to help me.
You know what's funny? It's just walking here makes me realise why I love the internet so much. I can't tell you how much I don't want to look at these books.
But if I wanted to beat Susie for a third time today, I needed to get my head stuck in. Luckily, Nick knew his way around the reference books, so we checked the local phone books for Bradbury's and then cross-referenced them on the electoral register to find out if any of them were Jason's. Then we could find their addresses.
Oh, man.
This had to be the most laborious task I'd ever undertaken for the Gadget Show. I honestly don't know what people did before the internet.
Where's a supercomputer when you need one?
Meanwhile, I was on my way to Susie's house, and I was being guided by the latest Garmin New Link, which has constant live updates, which means you avoid speed cameras and traffic. The only problem was, it couldn't speak Brummie.
Turn left on High Street, Bordelli.
Bordelli? Do you mean Bordersley, love?
I was knee-deep in phone book hell and was starting to lose hope, but then we struck gold with book 135.
Jason Bradbury, I found it!
Brilliant.
Nick, thank you. Do you mind if I just run?
Go for it.
So off I went to get my namesake, but with no mobile phone to call him, I didn't even know if he'd be in.
What if he's better looking than me?
Luckily, my mystery Susie wasn't very far away, and I soon arrived at the address.
She's going to actually think I'm mad. I hadn't thought this through. Hello? Doesn't look like there's anyone in.
Ah, never mind, Susie.
I think it's here, dude. That's it.
Come on, Mr. B, please be in.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Can I ask you a bizarre question?
Yeah.
Are you Jason Bradbury?
I am.
That's fantastic!
Hey! Hey, time to get Bradbury #2 back to the studio and make it 3 wins in a row.
This is so cool. I love the fact that he just said, yeah, all right, I'll come with you.
I thought everything was lost, but finally, some Susie Perrys got in touch on Twitter. I had a brainwave.
Nobody said that you actually physically had to get your namesake in the studio, so I could use Skype. I could just Skype any of the Susie Perrys that are on Twitter or Facebook. Even that girl in the States that I found.
Look, even if Susie's done really well, she's still got to get the person that she's looking for, Susie Perry, into the studio. And I've already ticked that box because he's sat right there. Look, Jason Bradbury. There he is. All right, Jace.
Hi.
It's bananas, isn't it? Come on, man. I think we've done it.
Come in and you think we've won.
This way, Jason. Hey! There is no other Susie Perry. We've done it. Result for the Jasons.
Jason Bradbury.
Jason Bradbury, Susie Perry.
Hello, hi.
Jason, come and sit down,
Nice
dude.
to meet you.
Sit yourself down there, my friend.
Yeah, I don't want to disappoint you or anything, but Susie Perry off the telly. Allow me to introduce you to Susie Perry on the telly.
Hang on, I'm getting this now. Technically, that Susie is in the studio, and I'm guessing she was in before my Jason.
Me and Susie have been hanging out for a few minutes now.
So
which
do you win
means
this one?
I win this one.
I think that's probably fair. Hello, Susie Perry. Where are you then?
I'm in Newbury in Berkshire.
How very lovely. And you're just as beautiful as the other Susie Perry. It's great to meet you.
And she's wearing...
Such a charmer.
Yeah, there you go, you see. It's what we have to put her with, wearing Jason Bradbury glasses.
Dude, you might as well put these on, man. Just to really confuse the viewers.
That's all we've got time for this week.
It's been a load of fun, hasn't it?
It has, it really has.
See you next time.
See you next time.